Hello and welcome to my review of the Termagants for Tyranids for Warhammer 40,000 from the Leviathan box set from Games Workshop. Now you can pick these up in the box set, which will cost you £150, although there are other ways to pick them up. The cheapest of which is picking up the Tyranids Termagants and Ripper Swarm plus paint set, where you'll get 3 Termagants, one, I say Ripper Swarm, there's just like 4 of them, isn't it? A number of paints, I think you get 6, and a brush for £22.50. So if you're only interested in 3 Termagants and a Ripper Swarm, that's the and you want to get some paints to paint them, that's the cheapest way you can pick them up. They're also included in all of the other sets, so the introductory set for £40, the starter set for £65, and also the ultimate starter set for £125, as well as this. So yes, that does mean that they're included in no less than 5 different sets, and no doubt Games Workshop will release them, possibly, I'm hoping, in a box of 20 separately. Now, as you can see here, there are 20 of them and 2 Ripper Swarms. The format of this review is as usual. We'll look at a few of these models up close, look at the detail, go through how easy they were to build. There are no spare parts, so I'll go straight into some size comparisons, and then we'll go through all of their rules, which can be found in the Warhammer 40,000 app. So the miniatures, they were easy to build. You know, I think each one had about 4 parts or so, which was the body, 1 of the legs, and 2 of the arms. There are some mould lines in places. I just gave up in the end with mould lines, and I just kind of took some of the flash off and then eventually just put them together. So you will see some mould lines running along a few of these places, but yeah, I just ran out of patience with these Termagants. All the other models, I went through all the mould lines, so that's fine. I think they look fine. I mean, they're on these 28mm bases, I think they are. It's almost like it's getting a bit cramped now for these. Just with their poses and things, they almost look like they could fit on a 32mm even. Their poses are lovely. Some great poses here, real sense of motion. There's a fair amount of detail. They weren't too difficult to put together. It's just the left arm. There'll be a gap, possibly a gap, with the armour of where the arm slots in. The Ripper Swarms, again, they're like 4 pieces, but they look really cool. I like these, and you've got multiple options because you can pair the actual creatures up with each other. So you could have those 2 with each other, or you could have that one with that one, or that one with that one. So there's options there for both the Ripper Swarms to mix and match. You know, that's why these 2, although they have exactly the same models, they look a little bit different, don't they? You know, where they're facing and what they're doing and things, which is nice. I mean, you know, next time I could even glue this taller one over that side possibly. But yeah, I like that little bit of variety. With the rest of them though, you know, you are going to get twins. There's 10 of them here that look exactly the same as the other 10. You can't mix and match them because their weapons and their arms only go in one way to connect. I suppose you could potentially cut the pins off the guns and the arms and try and, you know, pose them a little bit, but definitely the legs are in one way. But the legs are in one way. You've even got a couple of them actually shooting. Look, this one's sort of moving back and firing, which is nice. You don't normally see them shooting. You normally see them just running, holding their weapons. So it's nice to see a few of them actually take aim, which is good. No doubt the Hormagaunts look great, and Gene Stealers look all right, and it'd be nice once they're released to compare them to those. Okay, so size comparisons then. We'll start off with the smallest of the bunch, which is the Neuro Gaunts. Right here, this is where they sort of measure up. This is the Node Beast. Node Beast is on the same size base and is probably bigger, I'd say. Not as long, has a short stubby tail like the Barb Gaunts. Compared to a normal Eurogaunt though, yeah, these Termagants are big compared to these Neurogaunts. I never thought I'd say that about Termagants, but there we go. And then we'll compare them to the Barb Gaunts. Right here, Barb Gaunts are huge compared to the Termagants. Pretty big. And then Von Rhein-Leaper. Massive. And of course, we'll just compare, you know, the Tyranid Prime right here. See that? You know, towers above all of those. And then the Screamer Killer is way, way bigger. So some comparisons with some Space Marines then. So here's a normal Space Marine or a Stern Guard, Terminator Captain, and then the Terminator. So, you know, this is what they'll mainly be fighting up against. And it's very similar in the trailer, size-wise, which is good. These Stern Guard fighting these Termagants. I think these Termagants have had a size increase. I don't have any old Termagants at hand, I don't think. But I think that they are larger. They're certainly on larger bases, aren't they? But yeah, they look pretty beefy now. You know, compared to a Terminator. Terminator is massive compared to these, which is good. And then compared to my usual 3 minis. So we've got a normal Space Marine. I mean, these Termagants are looking pretty big compared to normal Space Marines now. Bigger overall compared to Slimarvo. He's feeling a bit small now. And then of course the Intercessor, you know, going to be the same size as the Stern Guard. So hope that's helped sort of you understand how big these Termagants really are now. Okay, well, it was a bit of a squeeze, but I've managed to squeeze all of these 20 Termagants onto the spinning display wheel, and that means that you are at my part of the review where I will go through all of their rules. The unit composition is between 10 and 20 Termagants, so that means you don't need to necessarily have 20, you can have 10, and if you pick 10 it's going to cost you 60 points, if you pick 20 it's going to cost you double at 120 points. Every model is equipped with Flesh Borer and Xenos claws and teeth. And if you didn't know much about Termagants, they are the scuttling predators that attack in huge swarms. Termagants were originally spawned to roam the tight arterial passages of hive ships and hunt intruders. They harry their prey with a hail of firepower, seeking always to outflank and envelop their victims as they erode their numbers. So they're kind of like the horde part of Tyranids, along with Hormagaunts and I'd say Genestealers to some extent. So what do you get for these, you know, 120 points? Well, their data sheet reads as follows: a movement of 6 inches, toughness of 3, save of 5+, 1 wound, leadership 8+, and objective control 2. So the objective control 2 is quite nice. You know, their save is 5+, which is, you know, not too bad. You know, but they are quite weak. So their weapons, they have ranged weapons, all of them, called Flesh Borers. They are an 18-inch range, 1 shot. Ballistic skill 4+, strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. That's not too bad, and they are all assault weapons, so they can always shoot them, and they can advance if they shoot them, and so on. So not too bad. You know, you get 20 of them, you got 20 shots there, you know, 50-50 to hit, maybe 10 will hit. Then you probably got a nice number that will wound out of those. So probably wounding like 6 or 7 of them if you're lucky. You know, that's still, you know, a number of saves, I guess, that your opponent has to deal with. Another thing is you can actually replace all of their Flesh Borers with Termagant Devourers, and they can also have their flesh borers replaced with Termagant spine fists. Of course, you're not seeing that here, but I guess you could, opt for either flesh borers or devourers. I'm sure if you just said that they're armed with spine fists, your opponent wouldn't really mind. But in case you were wondering, the Termagant devourers, they're 18-inch range, but they get 2 shots. Ballistic skill is still 4+, but their strength drops to 4, AP 0, damage 1, and they're not assault anymore. So it's whether or not you think that's worth it for the extra 2 shots. So you could be pumping out 40 shots here, but out of those 40 shots, your strength has dropped down to 4 now. So it might be worth it for weaker enemies, I guess, with weaker toughnesses. The Termagant spine fists, if you opted for those, they are a 12-inch range, 2 attacks, 4+ to hit, strength of 3, AP 0, damage 1. They're assault, pistol, and twin linked. So they're all these, little dual wielding pistol weapons. Again, not high on the strength, but you are getting the 2 shots each. Melee weapons, so they're armed with these Xenos claws and teeth. I think they're the same as the Neurogaunts, so they get 1 attack each, weapon skill 4+, strength 3, AP 0, and damage 1. Faction abilities, they have Synapse, and then datasheet abilities, they have Skulking Horrors. So once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of this unit, if this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to D6. Now that's pretty good. When your enemy unit, ends their normal move, and they're within 9 inches of them, they can get an extra move within your opponent's turn, which is very nice. Their keywords: infantry, Great Devourer, Endless Multitude, Termagants, Battle Line, and Tyranids, of course. What do you guys think of these Termagants? Do you like the new sculpts? Do you like the rules and their weapons and this new Skulking Horrors rule? The main way you would use them is, of course, in a horde army. You'd have 2, maybe 3 chunks of 20 of them all running towards your enemy, and then you would blindside them, and then you'd use your more powerful units to take your opponent out while they're having to deal with these. And of course these can capture the objectives as well with their objective controllers too. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.